Hello again to the podcast. We will be talking today about philosophy of unlost innocence. I'll give a brief about it where we see that some individuals do not lose such connection to that innocence they have, and you can people with such innocence have great emotional capabilities, as we will see. So there are few individuals, refined spirits, that seem untouched by the world's corrosion. So there is a corrosion in the world that happens as we grow up, and this is a delicate innocence that survives adulthood. So when we meet such a person, we feel immediately that it's not the words alone, but the subtle grace of their gestures, the unhurried rhythm of their movements, sincerity that glimmers behind their eyes. So we are talking about these people who have such innocence. Now their presence is like a skimmer of light upon calm water, tranquil, unintrusive, yet impossible not to notice. So when these persons show up, we can notice them very. They do not perform gentleness. It's not a performance. It emanates from them naturally, as fragrance does from a flower. Their demeanor evokes the simplicity of childhood, transparency, sincerity, which most people lose to play roles. So innocence and sincerity and transparency, we lose them just to play roles when we become adults in order to protect our egos and pursue agendas. In a world where so many approach relationships as negotiations, seeking validation, advantage, or control, these rare souls remain guileless. They move without calculation, and this makes them both fragile and magnetic. So, both fragile and magnetic. Their purity does not arise from naivety. They are not naive, but from a deep alignment between thought, word, and deed. Three things: thought, word, and deed. They are light. They are light. They are not heavy. Their presence is light, not merely in body or movement, but in spirit. So when you meet them, you just feel it that they are light. They are like air, yeah, in their presence. Their physical presence often mirrors their inner nature, their physical appearance, their physical presence mirrors the inner nature, slender, fluid, almost weightless. So we are just continuing the description of their appear in the previous paragraph. We talked about how they are very light, their presence is light, and now we come to the physical presence. It mirrors also this, which is the internal, which we talked about, the internal presence, which is light. And now this lightness of the internal uh, is uh, is mirrored to the outside, and they feel slender, fluid, and weightless. They are not built for endurance, battles, or prolonged intensity. So they are not made for heavy or intense uh, battles, or yeah, fighting or something like that. Their essence belongs to transience. They come and go like a soft breeze, leaving behind the feeling of freshness rather than fatigue. So when you are in the presence of these people, you feel fresh, not fatigued. People are drawn to them irresistibly. People are drawn to them irresistibly, though they rarely understand why. Why we are drawn to these people. Many friends ask why we are drawn to these people. So why we are drawn to X, to Obeid, or to to Stephen or to whoever or to Lily. Why? It's because this is the answer. These individuals don't impose anything. So the thing that we have to mind here, their innocence, their subtlety, their wayless physical presence uh, imposes. These individuals do not impose anything on us, not opinions, not desires, not ideologies. So nothing. In a time when everyone is shouting to be heard, they whisper, and that whisper feels like a balm. You cannot resist them, for they ask for nothing yet, give something invisible, give something. They are invincible actually, and they give something. They get give something invisible but profound, the restoration of peace within you. So they are peaceful from inside, and they radiate that to us. While we are, everybody wants to show his ego to the others, and we are shouting to be heard. They are very calm because they don't want to prove anything. They're just peaceful, and yeah, their charm. Now we go to their charm is effortless. They could sell you fish from the sea itself. This is a saying, selling a fish in the sea itself. So, with their charm, they do that, and you would feel grateful for the offer. Thank you very much for that offer, not because of what they're selling, but because of the grace with which they do it. They are very graceful in doing that. So their persuasion does not manipulate; it enchants. It enchants. So their words do not battle for dominance. So they are not fighting. They flow gentle and continuous, like a river that flows its natural path. What makes them truly rare, what makes them truly rare, is that their energy never disturbs the atmosphere around them. So usually when two persons, three persons, four persons meet, then there is a lot of disturbance to the atmosphere. You can hear humming noise around. When there are more and more, you just go to a coffee shop, busy coffee shop, or go to the airport, or go to the crowded places, you see humming. But if these people are there, they never disturb the atmosphere around them when they are speaking. They enter a space, and somehow the air adjusts to their presence, not the other way around. They are magicians of equilibrium, not by artifice, but by authenticity. They are authentic. When they speak, you listen, not from obligation, but fascination. We are fascinated by these people because when they speak, there is some magic in their speech. Their speech may wander, circle, or overflow, but it never feels heavy. So their speech is not heavy. That's why we listen to them. It is music, not rhetoric, the kind of speaking that reminds you that beauty can exist in the ordinary cadence of thought. They talk much, they talk much, perhaps too much. So, yet every word carries a softness that the world has forgotten how to use. It's very deep. Such being such beings remind us that innocence is not a stage to be outgrown, but a quality of perception. So innocence is perception, quality of perception actually, not the whole perception. It's a quality of perception, a way of seeing without pretense. We are not pretending here or giving any expectations of existing without wounding. So we exist without injuring anybody in front of us. They move through life as though guided by an invisible elegance, very elegant, never forcing, never resisting, simply just being. And perhaps that's why we are captivated by them, because in their lightness, they reflect a part of ourselves that we lost long ago. The part that once loved freely, trusted easily, and found beauty in the mere act of being alive. This sounds like a child, 3, 4, 5 years old. So, yeah, but some people go to adulthood and we are still having these qualities, and they are very rare. Why the innocent are rare? Why the innocent are rare? To understand why these beings are so uncommon, we must look at what happens to most people as they grow. Childhood begins with openness. So a child is open, a state of being in which experience is met directly. So the experience is met directly here without layers of interpretation or defense. So the mind doesn't interfere here and says, "This is let's let me defend from self. Let me not say this. Let me not say that." So there is no layer of defense mechanism that we we build through with adulthood. Every sound, every face, every feeling arrives like a first sunrise. So but as we move through the world, the purity of perception begins to harden. We learn caution, self protection, and ambition. Three things we learn: caution, self protection, and ambition. We begin to filter. So we have a filter now for the experience through expectation. So we want this, then we have to do that. So we have to put this filter. So we put a filter on our experience. Society rewards sharpness more than softness because of our society. So uh, there is the effect of society on us that pushes us to be more sharp than soft. So it rewards more sharpness than softness. It tells us to be strategic, not sincere. So it tells us to be strategic, not sincere, to persuade, not to understand. In this process, innocence is traded for survival, and refinement becomes performance rather than essence. Yet, if you resist, few of us resist this change, not through rebellion, but through a kind of spiritual immunity. So they are immune from inside spiritually. Their spirit is immune, their soul is immune from these changes, from these changes from softness to sharpness, from strategy to sincerity, from persuasion to understanding, all these things. These keep their inner transparency even as they navigate a world that thrives on opacity. Okay, so they just resist that, and then they remain in the good place of sense of innocence. Philosophers have long tried to name this quality. Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, called it the natural goodness of the human being. The natural goodness of the human being, the original purity, unspoiled by civilization's deceit. Jung Young saw it as the archetype of the divine child, the eternal, creative innocence within the psyche that connects us to wonder and truth. The mystics also, to recognize it, they spoke of the pure heart. So we say in our culture that he has a white heart. So this pure heart in English. In Arabic, we say white heart. A state in which one sees the world without distortion, without the dust of desire clouding perception. The person of unlost innocence, we're talking about these innocent people, lives in alignment with this deeper current. They do not need to manipulate because they trust the natural flow of things. Their refinement is not learned, it is remembered. Their kindness is not deliberate, it is instinctive. So that their kindness comes from the instinct, not from it's not deliberate. They remain somehow like untouched water, clear, reflective, and endlessly giving. It is not they are naive, so we have to negate the opposite. So just to give them their place, their higher place. than the place of people who lost sincerity. So we are putting here in this article, we are we are placing the people, innocent people, in a place higher, and we are giving them a good place. It is not that they are naive to the world's darkness. They sense it. Of course, they sense it. They see it. They sense it with their heart, with their instinct, with their intuition, even more acutely than others, because they are perception not by the mind, intellect. They are perceiving it by the heart, but they choose not to become it. They don't want to be like that. Their purity is not ignorance; it is refusal. A refusal to let cynicism rewrite the language of their soul. They can be wounded easily because they are pure, and they are very sensitive because they are using their heart. And this is the price of being authentic. You get wounded easily, but they heal though through the same quality that makes them fragile: openness. So since they are open, they heal. They heal. They heal through that. People are drawn to them because they restore again. People are drawn to them because they restore something forgotten. So when you see somebody like that, oh, I was like that when I was young. In their company, we feel seen without being judged, valued without being needed, loved without condition. They remind us that gentleness is not weakness. It is strength refined by awareness. So the awareness of these people is higher. Their consciousness and awareness are higher and open to more possibilities, and this makes them stronger than us. So they are not weak here. We negate being weak. There is a strange paradox at play. The more the world grows loud, the more powerful quiet souls become. So there is a paradox here. The world becoming very loud, and these people become the innocent people, their souls become very quiet. Their silence unsettles the performative noise around them. So they are not preachers, yet their mere presence feels like a lesson to us. They teach not through doctrine, but through being themselves, showing that it is still possible to move through life with elegance, to speak without deceit, to desire without consuming, to love without fear. Such people may seem out of place in our age of excess, but perhaps they are not behind the times, perhaps they are ahead of times. They embody a future of consciousness that humanity has not yet fully reached, a mode of existence where intelligence and tenderness no longer conflict. So, intelligence and tenderness at the same time. So, as we talked before in another podcast about the mind, intellect, and the heart, emotions. Not through dominance, but through harmony. So both intellect and heart are in harmony with each other, and they agree with each other. So the the, the emotions and the intuition that the heart feels is not filtered by the mind. The mind, okay, it will let the it so to speak allows or permits the heart to have its own mind. In them, the divine child is not lost, only grown, still playful, still luminous, but not clothed in awareness. They remind us that the highest refinement is not sophistication, but sincerity, and that the greatest beauty is not in what dazzles the eyes, but in what rests the heart. The art of loving. Now we go to another subject. It will be the art of loving, which is the art of loving the innocent. To love a person of unlost innocence is a step into a rare and fragile atmosphere. So we are entering the world. Suppose you are in a relation, you're going into a relation. You're not start the relation, but you're going into the world of establishing a relation with such people, innocent people. Let's see what happens. To love a person of unlost innocence is a step into a rare and fragile atmosphere, one that demands no possession but reverence. Their affection cannot be grasped or contained, so we cannot understand it or contain it in a box, as we spoke about the box before. For it is not something they give, it's something they are. So they exist. Their love flows in gestures, glances, tone of voice, and the effortless grace with which they inhabit the world. So gestures, glances, tones, etc., etc., all these things, their actions. So in a nutshell, it's all their actions towards the other person will which come as natural, will show their affection through that, not through words only. When you love such a person, you learn that intimacy is not conquest. So you don't have to fight to earn their intimacy, but attunement. You cannot hold them tightly because the moment you do, the magic dissolves. So you cannot get attached to them because, as we learned before in another podcast, that attachment is a psychological disorder. So we cannot become attached to them because these people, innocent people, work from the intuitive level, from the heart level. Their essence thrives only in freedom, so they need to be free. They are like air, like light. They cannot be shaped. You cannot put them in a container, in a box, as we said before, without being diminished. So if you put them in a box, they become less than what they are. If they put them in a cup, they become less. They will shape into that container, but they will become less of what they are. To love them is to open your hand. You have to open your hand, not to close it. So if you close it, catch them, they will they will be lost. They do not seek control, nor do they respond well to it. That's why we talked about attachment. So you cannot control these guys. If you control them, you lose them. Their natural state is movement, so they are always on the move, not away from you, but through life itself. So they just drive through life. They do not stay still out of duty, but out of choice. And if they choose to stay, it is never from fear, only from resonance. So if they in a relationship here, this is the utmost uh, level of relationship, uh, binding between two persons, meaning not even marriage, not even maybe a marriage after 20, 30, 40 years becomes like that. But if you are lucky and you catch such a person, not catch, but just meet by chance a person like that, then at from the beginning of the relationship you will enjoy the resonance. So you will only have their uh, they're bound they are bound and they are sincere to the relationship from the first moment, because they are in the moment. So there is no strategy here, there is no promise. Their sincerity makes every moment eternal. So you'll enjoy that because they stay in the moment, and they stay in the relationship because of what, not because of fear, but because of resonance, because they found somebody who can resonate with them. They have the same vibration through which they can uh, live with. So this beauty lies in contrast of to the ordinary patterns of affection. Rather, most love today is a series of negotiations. So love becomes the play of the intellect here. We're talking about intellect. When intellect rules the heart, so this is what happens. So even love has to be filtered by the intellect to see if it is good for you or not. Unspoken traits of attention, validation, comfort. But their love, the love of these innocent people, is not transactional. It asks for nothing except the space to be itself. To receive it, you must learn humility. So you should be very humble to receive their love, to stop measuring worth in permanence, and instead find holiness in the fleeting. Loving them changes you. Obviously, loving them changes the person who is uninnocent, not innocent. Sorry. Even if the love is brief, they awaken they awaken a tenderness you may have forgotten existed. They remind you how to see, not through the eyes you see from the heart, through the eyes of wonder, because this is new for you. They have they have went from childhood to adulthood and then experienced and then gained more experience in such innocence, so that their innocence have developed. Innocence develops also. When you are an adult innocent person, it's different from being a child innocent person. So when they speak, that's why when they speak, you listen differently. When they smile, you feel the quiet dignity of being alive. Their innocence becomes a mirror that reveals both your purity and your corruption, your longing and your fear. So it shows your fear, your corruption, uh, their innocence mirrors that. But this love can also ache for purity in an impure world, always feels temporary. You fear losing them, or worse, corrupting them with your own complexity. Yet they are not as fragile as they appear. Their strength lies precisely in their gentleness, in the way they transform what they touch without force. They are not immune to pain, they simply don't weaponize it. So it's not a weapon. The true art, then, is not to protect them, but to protect the space within you, within you, within you that recognizes them. So you have to protect the space within you, in your heart, that recognizes them. Because what you love in them is not merely them, it's the echo of the unspoiled part of your own soul. So this echoes to your soul itself, echoes to your own unspoiled part, because in every person there is still a unspoiled part of our soul that is still there, lying there potentially, but it's not acting. They remind you of what you once were before the world taught you to be clever. Clever between quotations here. Before self interest hardened into habit. To love them rightly is to approach them as one approaches sacred things with attention. So you have to approach them as sacred, as sacred things, as you approach sacred things. So with attention, restraint, and gratitude. You do not own such a person. Such a person cannot be owned. You accompany them. So you are walking beside them. So you cannot own them. They are mine. This person is mine in the relationship. No, you cannot own them like that. You will lose them. You do not direct their path also. I can change that person. You cannot change them. You just walk beside them, aware that every step in their company is a gift. So they will take you to Wonderland, so to speak. And when they are gone, as such ethereal beings often are, carried away by the same breeze that brought them to you. What remains is not absence, but awakening. So, from this experience, when they leave the relationship, whatever relationship, be it marriage, be it whatever, cohabitation, whatever it is, so you will not lose. You will something residual is left in you. Something has changed. So you have an awakening of your soul. You realize that their purpose was not to stay, but to show. So they came to your life just to show you, to awaken you on the good things that have been sleeping dormant in your soul inside, and then when they do that, they go. So they don't stay. It's not their duty to stay forever, 20, 30, 40 years. No, they just go. And when they are gone, okay, as ethereal beings often are, carried away the same breeze that brought them, What remains is not absence, but awakening. Okay, they remind they remind you that love is its pursuit purest form. In its purest form does not bind, it liberates. So usually we think that love in the modern world is, from our experience, is binding. It should not do that. It should be liberating experience. This is what they teach us. To have known them even briefly is to be initiated into a higher tenderness, a refinement of perception, a reconciliation between beauty and truth. They do not change the world through power, but through presence. Just their presence, they change the world. And when they leave, the world they touched continues to shimmer, subtly altered. So when they go leave the world, they they already have altered something in the world. They have already altered that on a subtle state. And as if invisible gentleness had been left behind in the air. So they leave invisible gentleness behind in the air. So this is like a little bit of a poetic, like a poetic prose um, I've written just to display the subject of innocence that we experience in relationships, be it a relationship between mother and child, be it a relationship, as again we say, by husband and wife, between two persons, not in a contractual agreement or the cohabitating, anything. All these relationships that are based on innocence, at least one of the persons is innocent. It gives us, as an innocent people, not innocent people, will give us a change which is a positive change to our souls and a very good experience. So if you have any questions, as usual, please let me know, comment on the video, and I'll see you in a later video. Thank you very much for attending.